So I was discussing about the second step here. So define connectors, double click on define connectors and new entries, enter the system name what we have created, the connector name, EC1 client 200, connection type SAP, source connector should be same as target connector, and logical port also should be same as target connector, and at the end of background processes I am leaving it empty because it is not a mandatory field also. Save it. So this is a request. I don't know what happened. The request which we created is not okay. Now select the entry and then double click on the subsequent connector. So these subsequent connectors we define generally only for Java systems, and the subsequent connector is created by basis team. So you talk to basis team to get the name of the subsequent connector and just name it here. The connection type should be EP, and then the connection type text logical port will be same as your subsequent connector again here. Now coming to define connector groups. Okay, now let us go and create a connector group here. So yesterday we have lost, I guess. So I'm creating two groups. ABAP group I'm creating, so that just mentioning what type of system it is. And this group, whatever we created, it is of what type? So it should be of logical type. Logical group. So as soon as you're doing the things, just save it. Now last one, assign connectors to connector groups. So under the group which you created, okay, we did not define the connection type, I guess. So define it. It is of SAP type. Save it. Now go to group types. We have done it. Then assign connectors to connector groups. So under the group name, we are maintaining our connector name. EC1 client 200. Save it. So this was yesterday's class. As till yesterday's class we have discussed. Second step till second step. Now let us go to third step. Maintain connection settings. Same path again. GRC, common component settings, integration framework. First step is create connectors. Second step is maintain connectors and connection types. And third step is maintain connection settings. So click on maintain connection settings. Okay. So this third step is all about integration scenarios. What do you mean by integration? First of all, yes, anyone? What do you mean by integration? Normal definition of dictionary meaning of integration.
It's like joining one with the other.
What is that?
I mean to say joining one with another, like integrating. It's like a series.
Joining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I mean to say linking one with the other, like
Yes.
integrating.
Yeah. Combining, or you can say something like that. Linking, etc. So integration means combining, linking, anything what you can call it. Now let us see. Here they are talking about integration scenarios, linking scenarios. Let us see how many scenarios are there. Search for it here. So there are around 5 scenarios, integration scenarios. They are AM, AUTH, PROV, ROLMG, SUPMG. AM stands for automatic monitoring. The first one will be used for PC. So do not define this. Remaining below 4 are used for AC, access control. So why we are connecting the ECC system with the GRC? Because of these integration scenarios. For these integration scenarios, we are connecting ECC with the GRC. For what purposes we are connecting? For authorization maintenance management, for provisioning, for role management, for super user privilege management. So role management means nothing but role creation, modification, deletion process and all those stuff. Authorization management is nothing but how do you manage authorizations in risk analysis and all those stuff. Provisioning. Provisioning means automatic creation of user ID in the ECC system through GRC system. That is called as provisioning. Super user privilege management is related to EAM, emergency access management, FFID concept. So leaving the first one EAM, integrate with the remaining four. So select first one AUTH, continue. Here just select the scenario AUTH and then click on scenario connector link. Under that define your system name. EC1 client 200. So like this you need to repeat for all the four scenarios. Okay. So again I'll go for again same method. Maintain connection settings, integration scenarios. Now second one PROV, continue. Select provisioning and then scenario connector link. New entries, select the system. Yes, EC1 client 200, enter. Okay, again repeat. So you have to do all these four, whether irrespective of what all components you are using within AC. So better to do all the scenarios, integrate. Later again we need not come back here and again do it again. So for example, if you are not using ARM access request management, this integration scenario is not required. PROV is not required. So whether you use ARM or not, so my recommendation is do it for everything. Later we need not come back and again check what is missing and what to do. So do for everything. So later it is a decision of the client whether to implement ARM or not. So now SUPMG, the last one. Select SUPMG, scenario connector link, and then new entries. Save it. So just check me third one. I doubt third one whether we have done or not. ROLMG, continue. Yeah, it is done. Okay. So this is the third step. Maintain connection settings. These are the 5 integration scenarios. This is one interview question. How many integration scenarios are there in the connector configuration? 5 types of integration scenarios. AM, AUTH, PROV, ROLMG, SUPMG. So you have to by heart them. If you can remember fine, or else you have to by heart them. So now each is related to one component of so AUTH is related to ARA, PROV is related to ARM, ROLMG is related to BRM, SUPMG is related to EAM. Okay, so the purpose why we are integrating is for these purposes. We are integrating GRC with ECC. Okay, so any doubt here? This is all about the third step. Before I move on to fourth step. Okay, so let's go to the fourth step. So if you had observed now, for first 3 steps the path is same. This is the path. SPRO GRC Common Component Settings Integration Framework. Path for first 3 steps of the connector configuration. Right. Now the path changes for 4th and 5th step. The path is SPRO GRC access control. So let us go to system. SPRO GRC access control. Under access control, what is the step name? Maintain connector settings. So search here, the second one. Under access control, the second one, maintain connector settings. So click on that. This is the 4th step. So here just you need to maintain the details here. Okay, so click on new entries and put your system name here. EC1 client 200. Application type is SAP because ECC is SAP system. Environment is production always. Remember, because in GRC, in real-time scenarios, we connect only production systems to GRC. We don't connect development and quality. Production, GRC production. So we may connect to GRC development to ECC development, but for GRC production, we only connect to production systems. ECC production, BW production, HR production, etc. Okay, right. So that is the reason. So path ID is not required, actually optional one. So what exactly is this path ID is, so this is like it tells you the way, is it from GRC to ECC or from GRC to this one. So it will reveal. So this will get again in the relationship part in the next configuration steps. So there I will discuss more about this, what is the path ID and all those stuff. Otherwise you can leave it empty also. As of now I'm not defining it here empty. I will leave it as it is. Now PSS. PSS stands for password self-service. Password self-service. So what do you mean by password self-service? So you might have heard the word self-service. So when I add a password in front of it, it becomes password self-service. So what do you mean by it? Yes, anyone? Password self-service.
Maybe automatic generation of the password.
Pardon?
Maybe a user will be able to generate a password by himself.
Exactly. A user can reset his password on his own. If a user can reset a password on his own, that is called as password self-service. So if you want to enable that feature, so this is the place where you need to enable it. If you tick it, so that means you are enabling a password self-service feature in this system. So they can ask you in interviews, where do you enable password self-service feature in your target systems or even plugin system? So in the connector configuration, this step name you have to say. The fourth step of connector configuration. What is the step name? Maintain connector settings. Maintain connector settings, the fourth step of connector configuration. So here we can enable the PSS if it is required. If you don't require, we don't enable it. Generally 99% of the cases, clients or the security consultants or GRC consultants don't enable this password self-service. Okay, so there is another set of configuration which we do in ARM, access request management. So there, generally in Gmail or Facebook, generally what do you observe? When you want to reset your password, what is the procedure you follow? You have to follow. For suppose in Gmail you forgot the password. So how do you reset your password?
It will ask for a security question or any code needs to be sent to mobile number.
Right, exactly. So like a OTP sort of thing, or it can ask you some security question like what is your date of birth or what is your native place. So here also we can configure such security questions before enabling this PSS. So if you are enabling the PSS feature means not just click on password reset and user can reset the password. So we have to enable some security questions. Only when the user answers those security questions correctly, this password self-service feature has to be enabled for the user. So this will do that, such configuration we will do in last component of access control, that is access request management. So we'll again discuss more about that, how to frame the questions, security questions and all those stuff. And where does the user request for password reset? So when you go to NWBCT code, So under my home tab, so here you can have the link for reset password. So when I click on reset password, so you can see here, answer security questions, but the questions are not visible here. So we have to configure those questions. So this is all interrelated. So if you are enabling the password self-service, this setup has to be done. This configuration also has to be done. Okay. So we'll see this in last component ARM. Yeah, any doubt in this step now? The step is maintain connector configuration, maintain connector settings. Just put your target connector name, application type, environment production, path ID limit empty as of now. PSS if you want to enable, ticket, otherwise not required. So we recommend generally not required. We don't enable the password self-service. The reason is, I think we know. So most of the security consultants' major work is password reset. So if you enable that feature, so we will not left with any of the work. So people feel jealous of us. Like generally security team task is very low when compared to basis and other teams. So if you even reset this, make this automation like what? Auto password self-service. So people stop coming to us. If you don't enable that, people will come to us at least for password resets. So that is the reason most of the security consultants do not enable this feature.
Nowadays, due to this automatic robotic process and all, even they are also pushing the Smith feature just to automate things and all.
Yeah, see, when it comes to when client forces you to do something automation, then we have to show these features to them. Getting my point? So now itself, if you show them, tomorrow what else will be there for you to show as automation? So
So,
don't recommend the client. There is a automation feature for password self-service today. So after 1 year or 2 years, they will definitely come to you and say that do automation, reduce the cost cutting, etc., etc. So then you can say this will be automated, and then you can decrease the work hours, and then you can decrease even the consultants also. So like this, you should always safeguard your job security, right? So think about your job security first. So that is the reason we don't reveal everything to the client.
oh,
Okay. Right. So this is all about the fourth step. Now, fifth step, the last step of connector configuration, maintain mapping for actions and connector groups. So just below it, same path, just below it, maintain mapping for actions and connector groups. So click on that. Okay, here you have some 2 steps or 3 sub steps, just like second step. So here in this maintain connector group status, whatever the group you created, what is the group name we created? Connector group name.
ABAP group.
Yes. So that ABAP group you need to put it here and tick it as active. So click on new entries, search the connector group name, ABAP group, and make it active. This is the first step. Under the fifth step, first step you can say. So I have listed down here. So maintain mapping for actions and connector groups. First step is maintain connector group status. Ensure your connector group is name and make it active. Enter your connector group name and make it active. So that is what we did here. And then when this one, assign default connector to connector group. This is the second step under the fifth step. 5A, 5B. This is 5A and this is 5B. So I have noted down it here. Assign default connector to connector group. So let us go here. So select the double click on this. So here you need to click on new entry. So in your connector group, there are certain actions here. So these are the actions which we perform in GRC, like role generation, role risk analysis, authorization maintenance, provisioning, HR triggers, etc., etc. So it looks similar to your integration scenarios, but a bit different from integration scenarios. So you can say integration scenarios like is the input, and this is the output we are expecting. This is the output we are expecting from that particular system. That is the input for integrating. Why we are integrating is for input purpose. Here this is an output, you can say. So for role generation, for role risk analysis, we are expecting to do role risk analysis. We are expecting to do authorization maintenance. So first one action, role generation. So in your connector group for this system, ECC1, EC1 200, as I have only one system, that itself will become a default. So like this, you need to repeat for all the 5 actions. So action 1, action 2, action 3. So put all the actions one by one. Right. And the same system will act as a default here, because as I have only one system under the connector group called ABAP group.
So
Yeah.
there's one group called the HR trigger. What is that for?
Okay.
HR trigger.
Yes. HR trigger is something like uh, whenever, okay, let me explain to diagram. Suppose this is your GRC system and this is your ECC. So what we do is generally, so we create users in ECC and we fill the form in GRC, correct? If the GRC is automated completely, what we do is in GRC we fill the form, access form, that will go through approvals, different levels of approvals and all those stuff, and then the user is getting created in ECC. So actually what user has to do, user has to log in into GRC and he has to fill the access form. That is what he has to do. So user has to fill the access form in GRC system. Okay, this is expected actually. Okay, right? Clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, what happens when HR trigger is there, right? So your HR system will be available like this. So this is your HR system. So whenever a new user joins the organization, we create that user in the HR system. Not we, the HR team creates. Yes?
Okay.
So HR team will create first your user details like employee details like your first name, last name, what is your email ID, employee ID. So all these details are stored in HR system. So basically they create your HR master record. Okay. So when this HR master record is created, we configure in such a way there will be a trigger happening. A trigger is generated from HR to GRC. That trigger will automatically fill the form. Now user need not fill the form if this concept is available. So what will be the HR trigger says? HR trigger will trigger in such a way there is a new user joined in the organization and that form will be automatically submitted. then user need not even fill the form there. So this is called as a HR trigger concept. Not only creation,
Okay, sir.
that could be even user modification. For example, user has to get transferred to another department or another place. So where does the HR team does the changes? They do the changes again in the HR master record. So whatever the change that occurs in HR master record, that will be pushed into GRC system as a HR trigger. Clear? So
And this HR system
yeah,
should be SAP or non-SAP?
SAP only, because that is the reason we are calling it HR trigger, right? This is SAP HR system. Okay. So only when we have SAP HR system only this is possible. That HR trigger actions can be used. Otherwise it is not, we cannot use it.
Okay.
Then you need not define it also. In this step you need not define action 5. If HR system is not there, no need to define this action 5. But what I am telling you is, whether it is used or not, it is better to define everything. Later you can use them or not, it is your decision later.
Okay.
Because suppose you don't have HR system today, so you are not defining HR trigger action here. Tomorrow HR system has come and you have implemented HR triggers concept. So then again you need to come back to counter configuration, you need to do this setting, right?
Yes.
So for that reason, to avoid again coming back and doing the settings, so now itself we are doing everything. Whether in future we will do it or not, there is no harm in doing like this. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. And what is the concept of default connector? The concept of default connector is nothing but, suppose if you have multiple systems within ABAP group, so only one system will be acting as a default for one action. For 0001, this one will be default. For 0002, another system can be default provided that another system should be under ABAP group. But in our case, only one system there is a under the ABAP group, so that system is defined as a default for all the actions. Clear?
This one, could you please explain?
Pardon?
This one, please, could you explain it once again?
Can you be allowed?
No, I'm telling, could you please explain this once again?
Okay. Say suppose yesterday we have seen the group concept, right? This is the group concept, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in ABAP group I have, let us imagine I have ECC, BW, finance and SD. Okay. So we have 5 actions now. So for action 1, what is action 1? Role generation. So for role generation, out of these 4 systems, you need to define one system as a default. That need not be ECC always. It could be BW also. It could be finance also. It could be SD also. But only one system can act as a default for one action. Okay, let me go back and add some. I'll add and come back again. Say for example, under second step, I'll go and add multiple systems under the connector group. Common component settings, integration framework, maintain connectors and connection types, connector groups. So under my ABAP group, I am adding 2 more or 1 more new entry. So let us say this is another system we have. Let us say GF7 client 500. So I have another system. So in my group, how many systems are there now? 2 systems are available. Okay. Now go back to the step. Access control, maintain mapping for actions and connector groups. So under ABAP group, default connector group. So now I'll define new entries. So let us define now ABAP group. Now I have, so again for action 1 I am defining Now the second system. Already I have defined the first one. Now GF7. I am taking this as a default now. What happens? See, read this statement now.
Okay. Okay.
Under one group, for one action, only one system should act as a default. Okay, so what we have done here is, see here, I have taken this as a default for action 1, and again I am trying to put here also action 1 here, see. Another system I am putting. So how can two systems can act as a default? It is not possible. So remove this. Action 1 is allowed in GF7 also. Action 1 is allowed in EC1 also. But out of these two, only one should act as a default. Save it. Now system will save it. Clear so far?
So it's the action numbers which are important here.
Yeah, for one action, one system should be default, that's it. For same action, two systems cannot be a default under one group.
So one action number can be assigned to any number of systems.
N number of
But when
systems.
it comes,
Yeah,
when it comes to default action, there should be only one system.
exactly. You can define N number of systems for action 1. But under action 1, only one system should be default.
At a time, only one can act as default.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you remove this, and you can put this now. Change mode. It is stuck actually. What happened? Okay, some problem with the connectivity. Okay. Okay, so that is the concept basically. Under one group, under one connector group, only one system can act as a default connector. Okay, this is the main concept. One system can act as a default for one action. All systems can be linked up with action 1, but only one system can act as a default connector. Clear? Okay. Yeah. Any doubts so far? We'll see that system is not connecting. Yeah, it is connecting. So like this, now I have for same action, action 1 and action 1 under this group. See now this setup. For same action I defined two different systems. Okay. But only one will act as a default. You cannot put two. If you put two and click on save, system will throw an error. For a group ABAP group and action 0001, only one default should exist. Okay, clear so far? Yeah, any doubts? So under fifth step, you need to do the two steps only. Once again, I'm going. Maintain mapping for actions and connector groups. So here the first one is maintain connector group status. Ensure your connector group name is given here and make it active. And second thing is assign default connector to connector group. So here only for one action, one system should act as a default. But for same action, multiple systems can be linked up. That is possible. But out of the multiple systems, only one system will act as a default. So generally it would be ECC system. We'll define ECC as a default. Because ECC system is a system which has multiple modules within it, and most of the all users exist in ECC only. When you compare with BW, when you compare with the finance, most of the users exist in ECC. So we define ECC as a default generally, 99% of the cases. Okay, clear so far? Right. So total, these are the 5 steps. So we did 3 steps under common component settings, integration framework 1, 2, 3. Create connectors, maintain connectors and connection types, maintain connection settings. And then under access control, 2 steps, maintain connector settings and maintain mapping for actions and connector groups. So this will be like a full bouncers concept when you hear for the first time. So when you hear multiple times, when you practice on your own, when you have to practice, if you practice, then you get clarity what has to be done here. So you will remember forever. So theory, if you just remember theory, it is very difficult to remember. Only when you practice these particular steps, you can remember well here. So even if it is a bouncers, don't worry. This you will understand later. Once we complete the course, you will get more clarity. Okay. So at least you can have, don't get impacted by the remaining concepts, whatever we are discussing future. So if you are not getting anything so far, leave it. Just try to practice according to the steps what I have said. Try to understand the new next concepts better. So don't get impacted with the older concepts if you don't understand it. Okay. So now let me fastly go to the other concept which is called as synchronization jobs. So this is also very important. As soon as your connector configuration is done, so it is important to go for synchronization jobs. So what exactly is synchronization jobs? So let us see. Sync jobs. Purpose: to sync plugin system data into GRC. So to sync plugin system data into GRC means the ECC data is not created in GRC, but it is identified in GRC. That's it. So very important question, or this is point. ECC data is not created in GRC. It is just identified in GRC system. So what do you mean by this? Say for example, now I'll show you what is the meaning of this. Let me go to NWBC. So one of the main purpose why we use GRC is for risk analysis. So if you want to run risk analysis for a particular user, let me log in into backend as well parallelly. So my backend system or ECC is considered to be GRC 200. So let me log in into 200. Right. Here just I'm searching the list of users. How many users are there in GRC 200? So how many users are there? 43 users are there in which system? GRC 200, which you are considering as ECC. So now when I go for risk analysis in this to any one of the user, I want to do risk analysis for this user. Let us say BMW user 1, I want to do risk analysis. It has logged out. NWBC. Yeah. So here in NWBC, so for doing risk analysis, we go to access management. So don't worry, again I'll show you in detail, but just I want to show you what do you mean by sync job. So I'm doing user level risk analysis. System. I'm searching for user now. So our system name is what? Connector name. So in this our system name is okay. We have done a mistake actually. Like this, we have done the configuration in 200 system. Just let me confirm. Yeah, we didn't do here. Okay, we did a mistake. Whatever the configuration we have done, it is done in the GRC 200. So let me just fastly repeat it.
Because of that only the TR number is not visible yet.
Yes, system, you can see the system number is not visible. Yes, TR is also not visible. System number is also not visible here. So this is a system name. Yesterday we have done EC1. So 47 is available here now. Request number. So we didn't do integration scenarios also yesterday. Authorization maintenance. So just I'm repeating all the steps again. So it is a revision for you. So the more number of times you do, the more you perfect you become. Okay, this is all third step. Fourth step we have done already. Now fifth step, maintain mapping for actions, default connector. So this is the group we created. No, I think yesterday we created a new group. Bench group we created. So bench group, select it, default connectors now. Under this bench group I have only one system. So that is acting as a default. Done. So all the steps are done. So just reopen this NWBC page. NWBC. Now to run risk analysis for a particular user. So actually I have 43 users according to the screen. In GRC 200, which is considering as ECC, we have 43 users. But when I search here for users, so now the system name will be visible to you here. EC1. Now user, search for users in EC1. What is the answer here you said? No results found. So for this purpose we need to run the sync job. Getting my point? So whatever the data is there in this system, that data has to be identified in GRC. When we search for data like this, that data has to be displayed here. So let me run the sync job and then I'll show you the difference now. Clear everyone? What is the purpose of sync jobs? If you don't run the sync jobs, the data what is there in the backend system will not be visible in GRC. So now let me run the background job, that sync jobs. So the path for the sync jobs, same again, SPRO, under access control you find the sync jobs, GRC, access control, synchronization jobs. So this is documented here, the path for sync jobs, SPRO, IMG reference, GRC, access control, sync jobs. So under sync jobs, so these are the total 7 types of sync jobs we have: authorization sync, repository object sync, action usage sync, role usage sync, firefighter log sync, firefighter workflow sync, fetch IDM schema. So as of now we need to run 2 jobs mandatorily. One is authorization sync and the second one is repository object sync. So what is the use of these 2 jobs? Authorization sync is related to sync authorization data like T codes, authorization objects, SU24 data. This job is not required for Java systems. Why? Because Java system do not contain T codes and authorization objects. Okay, clear everyone? Authorization sync, yeah.
The Java system, what will be there without equals and authorization not there?
Pardon? For
I mean,
Java system?
if equals and authorization not be there,
Huh.
then what will be the main representation for authorization?
Yeah, we don't run authorization sync for Java. We run this one,
Okay.
repository object sync. So in Java system enterprise portal we have users, we have roles concept, right? So hence we run repository object sync. And there is a special
Okay.
job for Java, this job, 7th job, fetch IDM schema sync, to sync all portal system data, only for portal/Java systems.
Yeah.
Clear your doubt?
I mean, like authorization sync in Java systems, how authorization sync will be, adjusted. Like here we have authorization sync, right? In Java systems also there should be some job which will replace this.
Yes, that job is this one, fetch IDM schema. Schema means what? All the memory which is stored in Java in terms of code, languages, what you call that as actions, we call that as Java actions. In just like in ABAP system how we have T codes and authorization objects, there we call them as Java actions. So using this IDM schema sync, all that portal system data, that Java actions get loaded.
Okay.
Okay, so just you have to replace the job. Instead of authorization sync, run this job, fetch IDM schema. So this job is not required for ABAP systems.
Okay.
Fetch IDM schema is not required for ABAP. Authorization sync is not required for Java. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So for as ABAP system, I need to run two sync jobs. First, authorization sync to sync all the data like T codes, authorization objects, SU24 data, and then repository object sync. Repository is used to sync all the user role and profile. So let me run the both jobs now. First two jobs are enough as of now today. So let us run that sync jobs too. First, authorization sync. So select the connector name. What is our connector name? EC1 client 200. Don't execute directly, because we don't know how much data is there in the backend. It may take more time. So if you do execute directly, the system may get hang, or sometimes the performance get affected. So go to program, execute in background. So now give it the details like what is the output device. It will ask you some details. Continue, continue, go on, continue, immediate. So this is a background job setup we are doing. Save. So at the bottom you can see background job was scheduled for program grc underscore pfcg underscore authorization sync. Similarly, now repository object sync. Select the connector name EC1 client 200. Select all the three entries here, user, roles and profiles. And here you have two modes. Repository object can be run in two modes, full sync and incremental. Full sync will load all the data together, whereas incremental will sync only do the latest data which has been updated. So incremental means what? Incremental mode refers to differential data. Suppose between yesterday and today, what is the data updates happened? Only that data gets loaded. New data. Full sync means complete data. It will be loading. We will repeat this incremental mode daily. The delta data is loaded. Differential data. Whatever the difference data will be there. Like for example, yesterday we ran full sync. Suppose there are 100 users yesterday, all the 100 users got synced to GRC. By tomorrow, 10 users got increased. 110, the user count is 110 now. So tomorrow when you run sync job, again you need not run in full sync because already 100 are there in GRC. Only 10 has to be updated. So you can do just incremental mode. So whatever the data update is there, 10 users, only those users get loaded, delta, that will be loaded. Clear difference between incremental and full sync mode? So as we are doing for the first time, let us do in the full sync mode first. Program, execute in background. So printer name for output, if there is any printer output, immediate, save it. So at the bottom you can see background job was scheduled for program grac underscore repository underscore object underscore sync. Now to see the status of these two, you can go to the command called as SM37, which is for background jobs monitoring. So this is a basis command, SM37, used for background jobs monitoring. So execute and check the jobs run by GRC user 1. So these are the two jobs running now. So click on refresh. It will take some time to load all the data. Authorization sync will take time, but repository object will not take much time because it has only 43 users and roles assigned to those 43 users.
It is one, right?
Yeah, your voice is low, Manjula. It be allowed just.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay. So here we have scheduled two jobs, right?
Yes.
So is there any condition like first this job should be executed and then the next job? Like that, any priority is there?
No, we can do both of them parallelly, but if you want to follow priority, if I want to define priority, first is always PFCG authorization sync. Because without T codes, without authorization objects, a role is not there, correct? So first load that data, that T codes authorization objects data, and then go for the second one, that is role users and profiles.
Alright. So
But it
first
doesn't
is
matter.
PFCG.
Yes, first is
Just because
authorization
we
sync.
want to do.
So as per this order only, in the system, what order is there? The same order you have to follow. So sync jobs order here, screen. So what is the first one here? Under sync jobs, what is the first one? Authorization sync is first. So do it first. Second is repository objects. So once the job completes, we can go and check in the data again in an NWBC, whether the data is coming or not now. It should be visible data, will be visible. If the sync job is completed successfully, then it will be visible. The users will be visible.
This not in terms of repository object, but here in terms of authorization sync only it will take much time.
Yeah, as you can see here, repository
Yeah,
object is finished already.
42 users.
Yeah, because PFCG has more T codes and all objects, right? It will take time to run.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let us go to NWBC and check again. We'll search for users now, just like we did earlier. System is a bit slow. NWBC. Access management. User level. Search the system first. EC1 client 200. Then now search for users. Start search. So now you can see the list. Drag this. So what is the total count? Row 7 to 11 of 43. Clear? So this is the purpose of sync jobs. So once we find user here, then we can run risk analysis for that user and all those stuff. Provided the data should be ready. Risk analysis data should be ready and all those stuff. So don't get bothered
Just to
about
get
this.
that,
Yeah.
just to get the data from ECC system to GRC, we are running this synchronization process.
So voice is low.
No, I'm telling just
Ah,
to get the data from GRC and ECC system, we are using this synchronization job.
exactly. If you don't get the data, how will you run the sync risk analysis for this user Mahesh? So Mahesh is existing in ECC. I want to run risk analysis for Mahesh. If you are not able to find Mahesh here, How will you run the risk analysis for this user? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the purpose of sync jobs. So I'll send you the 2 documents related to this, and we have to discuss more about sync jobs later again, because as of now we need only 2 sync jobs, so we discussed only 2 sync jobs. In future we need to go through the remaining sync jobs as well, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So I have given some notes here, just go through the notes. I'll send you, yesterday I have shared you the control configuration document. So now I'll share you this document, sync jobs document. Okay.
And one more thing, you are sending us this material, right?
Yeah.
Do we have it in printed format?
Yeah, I have the standard documents. If you need, I can send that as well. But standard documents will not contain this date explanation like this, but that will be like SAP standard format.
No, no, I'm not asking for the standard SAP documents.
Uh-huh.
I'm just telling that do you have this whole book printed, like printed material?
Printed.
No.
No, no, it is not printed because this is the notes I prepared.
Okay.
So I'll be sharing you daily documents, topic wise. You can consolidate them and you can take the printout of it.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Right then. And one more update.